Hey everyone, this presentation is to serve as a reminder or a refresher for us for how to write lines of inquiry for our transdisciplinary units. When we write our lines of inquiry, we want them to be written as phrases. So let's take a minute to discuss the difference between a statement and a phrase. A statement is a basic fact or opinion written as a complete sentence, and it has a subject and a verb. It ends with a period or exclamation point. An example of a statement is plants and animals need water to survive. A phrase, on the other hand, is a group of words that does not convey a complete thought. It may lack a subject or a verb. An example of a phrase is plant and animal needs. We can think of a phrase as a book title. For example, Make Just One Change or The Power of Inquiry. When we write our lines of inquiry in the form of a phrase, we want them to sound like we are writing the title of a book. When we are writing our line of inquiry phrases, we can use the checklist to the right to help us. For each individual line of inquiry, we want to ensure it develops an understanding of the central idea, is written as a phrase, develops conceptual understanding, and develops student understanding through multiple perspectives. When we consider all of our lines of inquiry together, we want them to cooperatively define the scope of the inquiry, help us focus student research. We want to ensure they're open enough to extend student inquiries and deepen understanding of the central idea, and we want them to be distinctive yet connected to one another. Let's walk through this sample second grade unit. The theme is where we are in place and time. The descriptor within that theme is the relationships between and the interconnectedness of individuals and civilizations from local and global perspectives. The central idea is learning about past societies enables people to understand continuity and change throughout time. And the lines of inquiry written for this unit so far are characteristics of civilizations and societies, and connections between past, present, and future. Does our first line of inquiry develop an understanding of the central idea? Yes, it's as part of learning about past societies, we could investigate the characteristics of civilizations and societies. Is it written as a phrase? Yes, in this case, there is no verb. What are the characteristics? What do they do? Does it develop conceptual understanding? Yes, we have the concepts of civilizations and societies. Does it develop student understanding through multiple perspectives? Yes, we could investigate this line of inquiry through different sources. We could study different civilizations and societies. So we could approach this through multiple perspectives. When we consider both lines of inquiry together, do they define the scope of the inquiry? Yes, each one helps us investigate a different part of our central idea. Do they help focus student research? They do. Students will focus on the characteristics of civilizations and societies, and they will focus on connections between the past, present, and future. Are the lines of inquiry open enough to deepen understanding of the central idea? They are, because there are a lot of ways that we can approach learning through each one of these lines of inquiry. There are a lot of directions we can go. Finally, are these lines of inquiry distinctive yet also connected to one another? They are, because each one brings us down a slightly different path towards investigating the central idea, but are really connected to one another. The first thing we can do when we are starting to write our lines of inquiry is to think about the subject standards that are going to be included in the unit. Think about the central idea. Think about the theme and the theme descriptor. And when we think about all of those pieces of information, we want to start developing a big picture of what could be included in our unit. And we want to start getting those ideas down on paper. So whether it's on a Jamboard or chart paper or a Google Doc, whatever form or method works best for your team as you're planning, you want to be able to capture words, pictures, ideas all in one place, and all in one place that's easily movable. So in the example on your screen, you see here that we have pictures of book covers that the creators of these lines of inquiry might want to include in their unit. They have concepts. They have just general words and ideas. They have maps. So initially it's brainstorming everything that you can think of, activities, big ideas, subjects that you think will be included in your transdisciplinary unit. Once you have all of your ideas down, the next step you want to take is to group your ideas by subject. And you'll see in the example on the screen here that the subjects that will be included in their transdisciplinary unit are art, language, and social studies. And within those subjects, the team members organized all of their ideas, all of their books, all of their concepts into each particular subject that idea, concept, book most closely related to. So it's really starting to make sense or organize some of our ideas by subject area. Now that our ideas are grouped by subject area, we're going to take each subject at a time. And we want to start moving our ideas and our pictures, our books, whatever materials we included or items that we included in our initial brainstorm and then moved into this subject area. We want to start moving those around to try to find connections between them. So in the very top row, we see houses and buildings. And then this group decided that could connect through a map. And then as they're playing around with what line of inquiry could be written around houses, buildings, and maps, they wrote the line of inquiry, houses around the world. In the second row, we see government, transportation, and sanitation. And a line of inquiry this team thought might fit those two ideas is systems supported by government. And so each row here, the team moved their ideas and their concepts around. And then once they found connections between them, they started to draft these lines of inquiry. And then once we have our lines of inquiry drafted, or a good number of possible lines of inquiry drafted, we can select the 3 or so that best align to the unit that we are planning to teach. And we're going to do that by going back and making sure that our lines of inquiry connect to our central idea, connect to our subject standards, that we'll be able to teach our standards through those lines of inquiry, connect to our transdisciplinary theme and our transdisciplinary theme descriptor. Once we've decided on our final lines of inquiry, the final step we want to take is to review the checklist and to make sure that our lines of inquiry check off every box, both for in each individual line of inquiry and then considering our lines of inquiry as they work cooperatively together in our unit.